If you're feeling like you need a mental health day, but you're afraid to ask your boss, watch this video. Nicole and I are going to give you some ideas on how to just go for it and get yourself the day that you need. But if you want to skip right to the good stuff, go to selfcaretips.org/free guide and download our free guide on how to practice self-care. And when you do that, you'll also get onto Benji's email list, and you'll get weekly self-care tips from our guy. They're pretty hilarious. Today he was talking about howling into a pillow, something crazy like that. But anyway, good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good. What about you?
I'm doing good. Today feels like a 2 cups of coffee kind of day. So
good.
Just a little, definitely a Monday.
A Monday, yep. So we're going to talk about how to ask your boss for a mental health day. But before we actually get to that, I think we should talk about signs that you need a mental health day. Because I don't know that people are always that sort of self-aware or in tune with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I always think of, like we were talking about before going on here, of, okay, we know the signs of getting sick, right? We start feeling like that fatigue, you get a stuffy nose, you start feeling like that achiness, and it's like, okay, I have a cold, I shouldn't go into work today.
Right.
But,
not a big deal, right?
Right. Like but like when it comes to some of these other signs, like we kind of think of it as, okay, we had a bad day at the office and like, kind of move on. So I know like one of the things we had mentioned was that still physical feeling of being unwell. That can be like a tension headache, or you feel like that like tenseness in your shoulders, or like you just feel like really like, like balled up. You can feel like really fatigued or tired, or just overall just kind of like, blah. And for some people, it might be like, oh, maybe I'm coming down with something. Yes, you are. You're coming down with needing a mental health day.
Yes.
That is still, those are still signs. What were other ones that we're talking about?
So feeling physically unwell, difficulty focusing, right? If you just can't concentrate, or if you're just not into it, right? You're just not excited about being at work. You're not motivated for the projects you're working on or the people you're working with. So, maybe you need a mental health day so you can recharge and get that enthusiasm, motivation, and that ability to concentrate back.
Yeah, and that kind of piggybacks into the next one of feeling irritated easily. If you're sitting at your desk and that coworker like next to you or on Zoom or however things are going on for you at work, if you're just like, oh my goodness, like I can't, maybe that's a sign that like we need to kind of like take a little bit of a break, right? We spend most of our time during the week at work, depending on what your work schedule looks like. So it makes sense that like after a lot of that time with the same people doing possibly the same thing like over and over again, plus outside stressors, you might need a little time to like hit the restart button.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. So like, I think one of the big hurdles that people are going to have with this, and sorry, so for the folks that are just tuning in, Nicole and I are talking about signs that you need a mental health day. And then in a few minutes, we're going to talk about how to actually ask your boss for a mental health day. So yeah, there's this stigma against mental health and taking care of, doing self-care and taking care of your mental and emotional needs. And so like, there may be a hurdle in actually like admitting to yourself, okay, this is something I need and I have to ask for, I have to advocate for myself.
Yeah, like back to kind of what I said in the beginning of, okay, like where you have, in some jobs, it's hard to ask for a day off just in general. But if we're more likely to ask for a day that we're feeling like we're physically sick, right? So, okay, I got the flu. I need to, take a couple days to rest, right?
Don't come in. We don't want you to come in with the flu.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't want to take out the whole, team, right? And like, even if we're doing things on Zoom or virtually, it's still hard to have a meeting if somebody is continuously sneezing or just isn't like feeling well, right? And in our brains, we're like, okay, cool. Like that person needs a couple of days. Like their immune system needs to kick in. They need to have all the fluids and eat and, sleep. And all of these things come to mind. When it comes to mental health, it's basically the same thing, right? Like you need to rest. You need, hydrate. Hydration's great. Get some food in you and be able to let your body heal itself. But it is hard to have that same connect. Like, and I can think back to other jobs that I've had in my life where you're, run down, you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed. And then you're like, oh man, I wish that the weekend had a weekend. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I need to recover from the days that I had to recover to go back to work. And thinking back, those were days that I probably should have taken a day off, right? If Saturday and Sunday are not enough to, recharge, then there might need another day. And it's hard when we're in a lot of work cultures that promote productivity and, not taking those days. A lot of people can get vacation or sick time, but not use it because then you're behind at work, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, you're able to handle that stress better if you're in a better frame of mind. If you're already overwhelmed and annoyed at everybody that you work with and you have no enthusiasm for whatever you're doing, it's not going to get any easier. It's going to feel 10 times harder.
Yeah. So give yourself permission to take a day off, right? To nurture your own mental health. And as someone who owns a small business, I want to speak directly to other managers and other business owners and say this starts from the top, right? We need to write this into our policies, build it into our company culture, and model it as well, right? I caught myself at the beginning when I first started expanding my team, emailing people at 9:00 at night. And I was like, no, this is ridiculous. Because if I email, they're going to email back because they're all really great workers. And
guilty. Yeah. I would get an email from you and then I respond. You're like, why are you responding? I'm like, why are you emailing me?
Right. Yeah. So model that behavior, right? Be when you're out of work, be out of work. And when it's a weekend, let it be a weekend. And we have to build that into our team's culture, right? And so we also have to be willing to say to people, if you need a mental health day, let's make that part of paid time off. Let's make that part of the way that we think about our holistic, our whole health. So then when you're looking for a job, that may be a conversation that you want to have with prospective employers, right? Do you provide paid time off? If I were to need to take a mental health day, rather than a physical health day, what would that be like, right? Find out from the beginning if that's something they're open to. If it's not, it may not be the right kind of fit for you. If this is something that I hope it is, if this is something that's important to you.
Yeah. And especially having that conversation, then it becomes a conversation within the, whatever company that you're working at. Right. And I think of, because right now, as we're talking about this, I can totally hear in the back of my head a lot of my friends that are like, yeah, but my job totally wouldn't let me do this. Or yeah, but my mental health's all right. Yeah, I get stressed out and, I get very irritated or those kinds of things, but it's okay. Right.
Right.
Guys, if you're watching, stop and think about this for a second. When you are so stressed out, I know we've talked about this in another video, your cortisol levels are at such a high spot that you can start to physically feel sick and you're more likely to get sick, right? Your immune system isn't working properly. So this is a great time as any to promote for those mental health days, because a lot of us are trying to keep our immune system in tip-top shape. And we're also going through a lot of stress right now. So this is the best time to take a mental health day. And you guys who are watching, who I'm talking to. But yeah, how do we do it though? What does this look like?
Yeah. All right. So why don't we role play it a few different ways? So let's let's pretend you're calling me up to ask for mental health day.
Okay. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Nicole. What's up?
Hey, so I was just calling because I don't know, I'm just not feeling that great. I'm feeling kind of unwell, and I was wondering if it's okay if I take the day off.
Yeah, of course. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just definitely not feeling myself and feeling really, really tired and blah. It's just I don't think it would be, good for me to be in work right now.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like you need a mental health day.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do you think you'll be in tomorrow?
Yeah, I just need to hit that reset button.
All
And
right.
I think that's yeah, just like up, for today.
Got it. All right. Well, go take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
What was that like?
I was still nervous, even though I knew it was a role play. I think
Interesting.
it will, and I mean, it does. Like, I think because I even had that moment of like, do I tell them that it's mentally like something that's going on?
What are
Which
they going to
totally,
think?
yeah, like, when are they going to say no? And then after that, like, okay, cool, I'll suck it up, we'll be in. Like, and
Right.
I think that's part of what we were talking about of like the cardinal rule is like, don't lie, but don't overshare.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I easily could have been like, oh yeah, like my stomach, or like you put like something out there that's like, yeah, don't come in the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but at the same time, you don't have to share it specifically like what's going on mentally, right? Like you don't have to say like I'm feeling so incredibly anxious that I
Mm-hmm.
can't come
Yeah.
into work.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. You don't want to lie, but there's no reason to overshare, right? It's nobody else's business if you had diarrhea or if you had a panic attack or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever it is, it's your business. It's not anyone else's. I'm thinking about my daughter just a couple of weeks ago. She woke up and told me she felt really hot and had a stomach ache. And of course, I'm immediately like, "Oh God, it's COVID!" Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so I take her temperature. There's no temperature. I'm kind of like feeling her out. I'm like, I don't know about this. So I got her to admit that she did not have a stomach ache and she just was like feeling blah, right? And I was like, honey, I'm a mental health counselor. Like, if you need a mental health day, just tell me that. You're not going to always get one. I'm not going to say yes every time, right? Because she's in second grade. This could,
Yeah, we can start towing the line a little bit. Yeah.
we got to manage expectations here. But, but that day I was like, it's okay, right? It tell this whatever. It's okay if you need a mental health day, you can ask me for that. And so she had the day off. She got to go see her mom that day, and like it was fine. And then she went back to school the next day, and everything was great.
Well, and that reminds me of when I was in school. I remember there was one time that it was like early in the morning, and I went to the nurse and was like, I don't know, I don't feel well. Can you call my mom? And my mom ended up coming to pick me up. We're sitting at home, and she's like, "Are you feeling sick? Like what?" She's getting me soothed. She's doing all those things, right? Taking my temperature, making sure that I'm okay.
Oh,
And
mom.
I told her I just didn't want to be at school. I couldn't. I was really anxious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, "All right, cool. We can't do this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but if you need a day, just let me know." Shout out to mom
Yeah,
because like
she's
totally
pretty
ahead of her
great.
time, but it was something that you see in kids, because especially, and kids end up having more somatic symptoms anyway.
That's true.
So if they are saying like my stomach hurts, my head hurts, that kind of stuff, it might be a sign that they need a mental health day from school. But yeah, it's something to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah. So business owners and managers, it can start with you, and also parents. It can really start with you if we honor the need for mental health and we nourish ourselves and our families in terms of our mental and emotional needs, right? We'll all have happier school and workplaces. So I think that's it. If you are looking for more self-care tips, go to selfcaretips.org/free guide and check out what Benji has to say about taking care of yourself. And until next time, bye, Nicole.
See ya.